Good evening. I want to tell you about here Tuesday I met a Danish couple. We parked at the same place for boondocking in Helsingør. It was a nice Danish couple. They were only part-time RVers. They still had a house, but they were enjoying the RV life. They told me the reason why they had gone on this trip was they were retired, and they were staying at home, and the weather was not very nice. It was very windy and kind of not exactly garden weather, so they decided they wanted to go for a drive. I asked them how long they were going to, how long this drive would be, and they didn't really know. They hadn't decided. They say maybe a week, maybe some few days, maybe 2 weeks. It was like there was no plan for it really, and they were boondocking. They didn't stay at campgrounds or anything. They stayed free boondocking. So, but the thing was, I will see if I can splice the picture. I took a picture of our rigs, my rig and their rig just behind my one. And I'll see if I can splice the picture in here. They were driving in a approximately 20-year-old camper van. It was a Fiat Ducato camper van with a 2.8 liter diesel engine. And then I asked them about the economy, about this having this van, and they told me that they pay 13,000 kroner a year. That equals $1,850 a year road tax. And then I asked them what they paid for it when they bought it. They told me they bought it 20 years ago, and back then it was 10 years old, and they paid 130,000 kroner. That equals $18,500 for a 10-year-old camper van. They bought the camper van in Germany, so when they brought it to Denmark, they needed to pay the registration tax for the vehicle, because in Germany they don't have registration tax, and we do in Denmark, so they had to pay this. And they paid 80,000 Danish kroner. That equals $11,400 US in registration tax. So you see, that was like the whole rig ended up costing around 30,000 Danish kroner for a 10-year-old camper van. It was a nice rig and all, but it was not luxury or anything. It was quite small. It was approximately the same size as the Nest plus the driver's cabin. So it was a small rig. But $30,000, you know. And, well, 11,400 of that is registration tax. And then they pay 1,850 a year in road tax. And that is, I talked about this before, that is exactly the thing. That when it's a camper van in Denmark, it has to be registered on white number plates. And it's just so incredibly expensive. So, well, basically, that is why I don't have a camper van. That's why I have a travel trailer. Anyway, nice rig. Inside it was almost like the Nest, with the kitchen in one end, a bathroom, and then in one side they had a dinette, and the other side a sofa, and then you could walk through to the driver's cabin, to the captain chairs. So it was a nice rig, and some very nice people. We had a good chat, and unfortunately they didn't have time. I asked them if I could make a video, but they didn't have time for it. They wanted to get going. It was in the morning, the Tuesday morning we talked, and I was in a bit of a rush as well because I had to go eat brunch with my friend. So we didn't have time to make the video, unfortunately. But nice people and a nice rig, but very, very expensive here in Denmark. Anyway, another story I'd like to tell you about, just quick. A small thing that happened the other day. I'm not going to mention the name of the customer, obviously, except her privacy, but we received a letter from and I know I can say this, an old lady. Handwritten letter. We don't see that a lot in Denmark anymore, and I guess nowhere. But yeah, a handwritten letter. And it was from a 90-year-old lady who asked if we could sell her some garden furnitures. And when I saw the letter, I told my colleague, I'm gonna take care of this. She wanted some garden furnitures, and she told us what she approximately wanted, but she had no option to go to the shop. It was not possible for her because of her age. But she would like us to pick something for her. She wanted a bench, a table, and 2 chairs. And that was basically it. And she said she wanted quality. So I told my colleague, I'm gonna look into this. She said in the letter that we could send her an SMS with a suggestion of price and when we could deliver it. I tried to send an SMS, but it came back and said, no, cannot send. So I'm like, well, okay, what to do then? I wanted to help this old lady, you know. So then I thought, well, I'm gonna boondock near where she lived tonight, so I'm gonna drive to her house. That was, I believe that was Friday evening, yeah. So I drove the Nest, my Skoda and the Nest to where she lived, and it was a cul-de-sac. And obviously she was not home, so that didn't work either. So I had to turn around, and it was only just enough room for me to turn around the Nest. I had to kind of go back and forward a couple of times, you know, go forward, reverse, but I succeeded getting the Nest turned around and came back out from there. Then I decided, okay, I'm gonna write a letter and go by her house again and drop it in her mailbox. And I did so. And I wrote in the letter that I wrote my phone number and that she could call me after work. Because when I'm at work, I don't answer my private phone. So I gave her my private phone number and told her she could call me after work. She did so Tuesday. And she was very happy about that we had reacted and that we wanted to help her. She also knew that a problem could be that if we just brought the furnitures there and they had to be put back together, you know, the legs had to be put on the table and the other things had to be unpacked and stuff, and she could not do that because of her age. So she asked if we could do that for her, and I said, sure, no problem, I can do that for you. So we agreed about I should deliver it today. So I put the Nest at my workplace. picked up a normal trailer and put the table, the 2 chairs and the bench in the back of the trailer and drove to her house. And obviously she was there and I could get inside. I put everything inside her. She had like this small patio outside, in front of the house. It was one of these row houses, and she had a fence, but the fence was open, so I walked inside, put all the furniture there, closed the gate again, knocked the door, and she was at home. And when I saw her, my first thought was, this lady doesn't look 90. Had I seen this lady in the streets, I would have thought she's 60 years old maybe. But she was so fresh and so kind and, well, nice old lady. And she let me in, and I had to carry the garden furniture through the house to get them to her lawn on the other side of the house. And I did so, and I put the legs on the table and put everything out in the garden where she wanted it. And it was such a positive experience, this whole thing. You know, we talked a little bit, and she got some orange juice for me, and we sat down and had a little bit of a talk after I fixed it, and she paid for the furnitures and all. And it was just such a positive experience, and she was so very happy that I would help her, you know, both bring the furniture there and put everything in the garden and put assemble the table and all. And for me, it was, you know, it was just a day's work, you know. It was not a big deal. But for this lady, she was just, it's such a positive experience. I'm in such a good mood, you know. I did this just before I finished work, and it was just, yeah, she just made me in a good mood. Very, very, very happy, you know. I'm very happy that I helped her. You know, it would have been so easy to say, no, we can't do that, you know, we don't normally do this kind of thing. But I told my colleague and, well, my boss too, I want to do this. You know, it's the right thing to do. And they were like, yeah, sure you can, no problem. But yeah, it was just, I love to make people happy. It's just the basic of it. Well, okay, I'm gonna finish this video here, and it was just, you know, those 2 positive experiences I wanted to share with you guys. Yeah, you know, life is good. You guys take care. Bye bye.